Isn't this fun? Facebook living this, like while we go through this. Who's excited?
I am.
Yay! Okay, so I'll introduce myself, a little background on me. I'm Dr. Beth Westy. I am a chiropractor by training and a women's health expert, author, speaker, and I have a book coming out, so I go around and do talks to groups of women, fitness centers, just to spread the word more on women's health and how women can change their nutrition to match their hormones so that they get the best result and most energy from their body, from their workouts, everything else. So that's kind of what I'm going to go through and talk about today. Now, how I do a talk is a little bit different than sometimes what you maybe you've been to like talks or lectures before, and that if you have questions on anything, don't hesitate. Don't wait till the end, or don't wait till, you're like, that doesn't make sense, or that sounds really different than what I've heard before. Go ahead and ask a question, because the more interactive this is, the better, because you're going to be able to absorb more of the information. Sound good? Good. Okay. So, when we talk about health and everything overall, there's a lot of different aspects to it. So I'm going to just focus on nutrition and talking about how to match your nutrition for your hormones to get the most out of your body. This is a sort of a different way to eat and to focus on what you're doing. So it's actually more Eastern medicine based. I'm certified in acupuncture and studied Ayurvedic medicine for years. So it's going to sound a little bit different, but it's super fun. So when I start and talk about women's hormones and nutrition for your hormones, I always do a little recap on hormones just because sometimes women need a little recap. Or what we've learned in school is not necessarily very thorough. So just an average 28-day cycle that we're going to talk about and touch on. Not everybody has a 28-day cycle. It can change. It changes throughout your life. Stress changes this. But just for simplicity's sake of splitting things up and going through it, we'll talk about, the different weeks in this fashion. Now, in the first couple of weeks, your hormones are completely different than they are in the second couple of weeks, split up by when you ovulate. So day 1 is the first day of your cycle, day 14 is about when you ovulate, and then day 28 is the end before you start all over again. So days 1 through 14, those first 2 weeks, your body's actually a lot higher in estrogen. And so this is what I call your estrogen phase. Estrogen does something completely different in the body than progesterone over here. So estrogen, it actually boosts your metabolism. You're going to have more energy, a faster recovery from workouts. Your digestive system is going to be working a lot better and moving things along faster. And estrogen also burns carbs naturally. So sometimes women notice that they'll tend to crave carbs or want more carbs in their diet just because those are being burned naturally during this time. When we switch over to the progesterone phase, progesterone is completely different here. A lot of women too, and has anybody heard the term estrogen dominance? Or being estrogen dominant, a lot of women, if they've had babies or been on any type of birth control, something like that, you can be estrogen dominant and have a lot of issues with estrogen, meaning your progesterone is not as strong as it should be. So boosting your progesterone can actually help really, really shift things for your health and for your results. Meaning, progesterone now, it's going to slow down your digestive system more, but progesterone burns fat naturally. So there's different ways that you can eat and things you can incorporate to boost your progesterone to get into that fat burning mode a little bit more, which is exciting, right? But the other thing progesterone does is that it sort of makes you a little bit more tired. So sometimes women notice that during this phase, they'll feel like they have more energy in the beginning of the day, but they're much more tired at the end of the day. So oftentimes doing your workout towards the beginning of the day, you'll get a harder workout in and you'll be able to recover better because progesterone just fatigues you as the day goes on. So something to kind of tuck away in the back of your head. So details on how to eat for your estrogen and progesterone. We're talking about the estrogen. And the thing I like about this is that it's not exclusive, right? There's a lot of different nutrition plans out there that talk about you have to stick to this many calories and you can't do this or that or whatever, right? This is not like that at all. It's really just working with how your body works naturally. Now, of course, eat healthy, all those kind of baseline things apply. Whole foods are best, drinking lots of water, et cetera, et cetera. But really it's more about just choosing different foods to take advantage of estrogen and what it's doing. And it's not also very restrictive, meaning when I go through this, it's more about taking a snapshot of the day or of the week and seeing how you're doing with eating in that fashion. It's, if you're eating something that doesn't match with estrogen for lunch, is it going to ruin everything? No. As long as you're doing things throughout the day that kind of match with estrogen more, then you're going to be still working with estrogen better. Does that kind of make sense? So there's some, I've heard from a lot of women where they're like, I went on this plan and I had this trainer and then I had a wedding and I ate one bite of the cake and then the trainer said I ruined everything for 3 weeks and oh, I'm so upset. And I was just like, come on, a bite of cake, you know. Maybe not a whole cake, but a bite's not going to do it, right? So in eating for estrogen, one of the things to focus on is eating things that are cooling for the body. So this is more of an, again, this is the Eastern medicine philosophy to bring in. So things like cold beverages, either room temperature or colder, like iced water, are going to really help to cool the body down. If you're having coffee in the morning, caffeine is a little bit warming, but again, a cup of coffee, again, isn't going to ruin everything, but have it iced. Have an iced coffee. Yay. Also, in terms of protein sources, meat and everything, so chicken, turkey, fish. Those are all very cooling for the body. I am a terrible writer sometimes. And then raw fruits and vegetables are going to be fantastic during this phase as well. Again, your digestive system is going to be working better. You have more active digestive enzymes during this time, so your body can break down the fibers in the raw fruits and vegetables easier during this phase. So that's going to be more cooling. And then avoiding dairy as much as possible, because that's more of a warming component, and avoiding spices. So does that kind of make sense? Yeah, which is pretty easy to do, right? I mean, it's easy to kind of pick and choose some different things that are cooling for your body in this phase here. When we're eating for progesterone, we're going to just do the opposite, anything warm. So you want hot coffee, hot tea, room temperature or warmer water. Again, it doesn't have to be all the time, but it depends on how much you want to really tap into that progesterone and other things that you want to do to really boost progesterone in your body and tap into that deep fat burning mode. Meats, we're going to be looking at things like beef, bacon. Who doesn't love bacon, right? Brings a lot of heat to the body. And then anything you can do to cook your fruits and vegetables, that's going to help break it down. Again, I don't know a lot of people who cook fruit, I guess, besides like an apple pie. Yeah, or apple sauce. Yeah. But other than that, really the vegetables, breaking that down, either sauteing it or some type of heat to break down those fibers, because that can really make a big difference in how easy it is to digest those vegetables. That was some James Bond stuff right there.
Yes, that's why he's a trainer.
Right?
The last thing I want to do is ruin anyone's Facebook Live. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, Eddie.
He's not staying and listening to this.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then the other thing, which is kind of, I want to say more of a general thing, is to eat spicier food. So to add spice to your food. So how many have kids and families and stuff at home? Okay, yeah. So if you're preparing meals and things for your family, it's really easy to prepare something and sort of tailor it for you to eat for your cycle and your hormones. Meaning, if you're having tacos or something like that, you can prepare whatever meat with your taco, and then if you're in your progesterone phase, add some hot sauce on there, add some spice to there. That's going to help you tap into the progesterone, which is going to burn more fat naturally. Fantastic, right? Yay! And fairly easy to do. So again, not restrictive at all, not anything that's really tough to follow, just shifting your focus during these times to help you work with your hormones. Women that follow this, now again, it does take time to really see a shift and a change in the body. When we talk about differences between men and women and results, it's different for women, and I'm sure you guys all realize this. Men can see a result very, very quickly when they start either a different nutrition plan or a different exercise regimen, and that's because their hormones are generally the same every day. They wake up with the same amount of testosterone, and it kind of diminishes throughout the day, and then the same next day it repeats. Women don't have that. It goes through a different cycle. So it takes at least 12 weeks for women's hormones to shift and change in the body. So when you start doing this, you might not notice a big change in the first month of doing this because your body's just sort of starting to figure things out. It might take 2 or 3 months before you're like, whoo, I really feel and see the difference. It can regulate your hormones more. It can decrease any other symptoms that you would have around your cycle. I've had a lot of women boost their fertility this way. because they're just eating for their cycle. So this is sort of the base general place that I start with women for eating for your hormones.
How do you figure out what your baseline is? So like you said, you're more estrogen dominant. Like how do you find out what your levels are?
Yeah, so you can get a blood test, but sometimes excess hormones, especially if you've had kids or excess stress, extreme stress at some point in your life, that excess hormone and cortisol is a stress hormone as well. They can get locked within your fat cells, so it won't necessarily show as much in a blood test. But a lot of it's symptomatology, so just how you're feeling. Estrogen dominance which can be also thought of as some other things, which is why it's tough to pinpoint for women. But it can be fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, inability to lose weight, all those things. And then, I'm not sure if you've ever read any articles or seen things about like women drinking from plastic bottles or the phytoestrogens, things like that, and how they affect the body. Okay, so there's a lot of things out there, or soy, the impact that soy has on the body for women and how it can negatively impact their hormones. There's a lot of information out there kind of around estrogen dominance. I wasn't really planning on diving into that today, but it's very, very interesting that a lot of women will have issues with their hormones and getting their health to turn around and to achieve the results that they want to see, meaning I'm exercising really, really well, my diet is pristine, I am eating so clean, so healthy, and I'm not seeing any result. What the heck is going on? What's going on is that they're estrogen dominant and they're just not able to work with their hormones as well to get the result that they want to see. Does that make sense? So boosting their progesterone helps. Sometimes women will do a progesterone cream or something like that to help kind of balance that out. And you do a progesterone cream on your skin to boost your progesterone, and you do it during certain times of the month. You don't do it all the time, right? Again, you're fitting it in with your cycle. Same thing with your food. You can match your food for that as well. Just everything helps to work with the body.
So if you have like a hysterectomy or something like that, does that affect or with your age? Like if you're 50 and I have a hysterectomy, and so which side does it?
Yeah, excellent question. So for women that are either perimenopause, menopause, or have had a hysterectomy, or even on birth control, the amount of hormone that you have in your body is still there. It's just diminished. So you can still work with it. For some women, it's just sort of, if you haven't followed any plan like this ever, you can kind of start wherever and establish this over time with your body. Estrogen and progesterone are produced mainly by your reproductive organs, but they're also produced by other tissues in the body. Fat cells, neural tissue, and adrenals and things like that. So there are other tissues that produce estrogen and progesterone, just not as much. So it's still there, just in a smaller amount. So you still can take advantage of this.
Because, right now I feel like in the morning I'm like really energetic, but in the afternoon you feel like you're going down.
Yes.
Down,
Yeah. So some of that is going to be hormone related. Some of that we can talk about. I'm going to go into protein and talk about protein levels and amounts and protein absorption next. And that's going to help as well as blood sugars. So yeah.
I have two daughters, and they're on birth control pills.
Yep.
So how does their cycle look? Don't they just take progesterone for 3 weeks and then they don't take any? Isn't the birth control pills just one drug that they're taking?
It depends on what type of pill it is. But yeah, they take something for 3 weeks and then they don't take something to try and have this start.
Right.
So that they start a cycle at a specific time.
So does that mean it looks like this as opposed to waves?
Yes, but they're still going to have some. They're still going to have some fluctuation in there. It's just not as much. So, yeah. But for girls, oftentimes they will notice if they're following this as well. They're going to notice an improvement in any other, symptoms, PMS symptoms, all those things that are around their cycle. So, because it's still working with the body, whether it be a low dose, even if it's just a small amount of hormone. Yeah. Good question, though.
How does anxiety meds or things like that impact estrogen?
Excellent question. So the biggest impact that has with estrogen and progesterone and everything is cortisol. And when somebody has a lot of anxiety in their life, their cortisol levels are going to be skyrocketed. So there's a lot of information. I'll touch on this very briefly. With anxiety and everything, what I found is that women are actually having what I call chronic stress. So there's two types of stress in the body. One is acute stress, so it comes on very quickly. Imagine you're driving in traffic and you have to slam on your brakes and that stress response in the body is going to increase your heart rate. It's going to increase your respirations. It shuts down your digestive system. You have that immediate response. All animals do that too. But humans are super lucky in that they are the only being on the earth that does not have an automatic off switch to that reaction. So like you see a deer in the woods and it gets spooked and it just takes off, right? It has this whole response and cortisol gets released and it takes off. And then you can see it 5 minutes later just drinking by a stream, totally calm, just hanging out, right?
Yeah.
It's not freaked out at all because it's been able to turn that response off in its body. Humans can have that stress response occur from any thought, either from past, present, or current, or from future events. So that will trigger the stress response in your body. So it can be, you almost got in an accident on your way to work, you get to work late, and then you're worried, and then there's a project due that so-and-so didn't complete their part of, so you're scrambling at the last minute, and then that rolls into, you get a call from school for your kid, and da-da-da-da-da, and that just keeps going, and then it goes on day after day after day, and your body doesn't get a chance to shut off that cortisol response. And cortisol will actually really, really affect all your organs, how your body processes things, how well your hormones work together. It irritates kind of everything. I talk about it like being a bonfire, just sort of pissing everything off.
Yes.
Yay! And then it's also going to have a tendency to take protein that you're eating, convert it into sugar, and store it.
Yay!
Thank you, cortisol.
Yeah.
And in going into talking about the amount of protein, if you can increase the proteins that you're eating more, then you have that protein available as a complete nutrient to help fuel your body, to help turn that around, to help just give your body more nutrients so it's not going to convert as much to sugar and help support it so that the cortisol doesn't have as much of a damaging effect. Also, side note, when we're talking about cortisol, this is a fantastic facility to work out at because you're keeping your workouts at about 30 minutes. If you're working out, or if you've heard of people going to the gym for like an hour on a treadmill or longer, I'm burning so many calories. Okay, or you're just setting off a lot of cortisol in your body, and then it's having the opposite effect of what you want. Meaning women who are like, I've been going to the gym a ton, I'm working out a ton, 2 hours a day, and they're not losing weight. It's going to do the opposite because their body's going to see it as an extreme stress mode on top of all the other stress that they have in their life, and they're not able to come out of it. So little things that you can do while you're working out before and after are to make sure you're not only getting enough water, getting proteins in, but also there's a lot of different things out there where you can get branched chain amino acids. That's going to really, really help your body recover and not have cortisol be released as much and have that negative effect on your body. So you'll notice that, oh yeah, okay, I'm having some branched chain amino acids either during or after my workout. I'm recovering faster. I'm able to work out harder next time. And you're not feeling that same response, so you're going to have more effective workouts and be able to gain strength and endurance much faster. And for women who are under stress, and I honestly have yet to meet a woman who's like, oh no, I don't have any stress. Totally fine, right?
Yeah. No.
It's going to really make a big difference and a big impact. So, yeah. It's good questions. Any other questions?
So how much protein?
So how much protein should we be shooting for? What are we, let's talk about the protein aspect of it.
Vegetarian.
So fun. So I recommend women eat frequently throughout the day, and I'll break it down into 5 meals, mini meals, snacks, that type of a thing, just because it's easy to do. And that way, say you're eating a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then you're adding in 2 snacks, then you're going to be getting in, say, 5 meals. That's really, really important to help boost your metabolism. And also when we talk about cortisol and the other hormone effects, when you're eating that frequently, you're teaching your body to burn more fuel. If you're going longer than 4 hours or more without eating, then it's actually doing the opposite of what you want it to do, and you're slowing down your metabolism. And it's because of how fast your body burns the fuel that you eat. So all food is divided into either proteins, fats, or carbs. Yes? Okay. And we'll talk most about the proteins, but when you're getting really hungry, like that hangry, like, oh, and I was going to say, do you want to hand out snacks right now? I forgot about that. Because we brought snacks, now that I'm thinking about it, you guys worked out, you should have a snack and replenish your bodies a little bit, right? So these are what I call, I made protein balls, energy bites, all these things, right? Yeah, and the recipe that I have is very specific for post-workout, so they're chocolate peanut butter, and there's about 2 grams of protein per ball, even though they're small. And the key with them is that it's peanut butter, a little bit of honey, and then protein powder. And then I actually put in a scoop of chocolate greens. So there's greens, powdered greens. Yes, they have chocolate flavored ones, which are delicious, and you can add them in there. So you're also replenishing your body with fuels and greens. So with the ingredients in there, we talk about a complete nutrient. So seriously, have as many as you want. They're good.
Well, it's that, you need that fix, that chocolate fix too.
Yes. So proteins, fat, and carb, and these are fantastic. So I'll go through using these as an example for a complete nutrient that teaches your body how to burn more fuel efficiently. So you're going to be, and it sounds crazy when people are like, oh yeah, I'm doing this thing where I'm eating more and I'm losing weight. Oh, and you're like, what? That sounds like a lie. It's because you're fueling your body differently and boosting your metabolism. If you're not following these kind of key points, then you're missing the boat and your body's not going to see it as a complete nutrient, and it's not going to have the same result. So for protein in there, there's the peanut butter, and then there's the protein powder. The greens in there are just in there for extra nutrient, and it helps replenish your body after a workout as well. Fat, there's fat in the peanut butter. There's carb. There's a little bit of honey. Some recipes that you can find on Pinterest or online or something, they talk about using like a cup of honey, which I think is a little excessive. So I use about a cup of peanut butter, like an eighth to maybe a quarter cup of honey, and then I use about a quarter cup of oats. And I use gluten-free oats, just for a little texture in there. And that's your carbs. So what this ends up being per protein, there's about 2 grams of protein there, and then there's about 1.5 grams of carb. So
Is that what peanut butter is in there? Is it like Skippy peanut butter, or is it?
It's organic Costco peanut butter. Yeah, so there's no sugars in that as well either on its own. So little things to watch for. If you are using whatever type of peanut butter, you want to make sure that it's just peanut butter. Otherwise, you're going to be adding to the carb amount. You want to keep your carbs and your proteins at about the same or a little bit less carb if you're trying to boost your protein numbers. Otherwise, it's hard to eat that much food throughout the day because you're just going to get too full off of carb and you're not going to be able to get your proteins in. And when you're trying to boost your lean body mass and lean out or lose weight, all that stuff, top load with protein. So complete nutrients, proteins, fats, carb, and eating every 2 to 3 hours to really teach your body to burn, because your body's going to go through and burn carb first, like within an hour. So if you know somebody who's, oh yeah, I had a smoothie or something, but they're hungry like 30 minutes later, it's because they didn't have anything else, any protein or any healthy fats in their protein shake or in their smoothie or whatever. They just put like fruit in there. Yay! All sugar. Your body's going to burn through that and then be hungry. So after burning through carb, your body's going to burn proteins, and that you're going to notice you're going to get fuel from that for 2, maybe 3 hours. From healthy fats, you're going to get energy from that for up to 4 hours. So that's why if you get past that 4-hour mark, your body doesn't have any more fuel, and then it sees that it's hungry, and it doesn't have the energy, and that's when it's going to slow everything down, slow down your metabolism to wait for your next meal. If you're eating foods that are not complete nutrients, they're not protein, fat, and carb all in the same thing, it's also going to see that there's something missing. So again, slowing down your metabolism to wait until it has those nutrients to speed up. Does that kind of make sense? Oftentimes with just switching and making sure your meals and your snacks are complete nutrients gives you more energy, gives you energy throughout the day, all those things, because your body's recognizing, hey, I have these great nutrients available. Yay. Okay, kind of make sense? Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about protein numbers then to shoot for, because that's, people are, have an easy time getting carbs in, right? Yeah. Easy to get carbs in. Carbs are good, carbs are delicious. But it's protein that we need to focus on. healthy fats too, and I'll give you guys my favorite shake recipe that I
That sounds good.
drink like every day. It's coffee. It's a coffee shake.
Oh.
Because coffee is amazing. So we're talking about proteins and how to get it in throughout the day. So we'll say breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. Overall, and it's different for everybody based on your body size, weight, goals, all that stuff, right? But your protein goal for the day should be, 100 grams, 125 grams, especially if you're trying to break a plateau or see a different result. For me, I'm 6'2", so I'm a very tall gal. My protein numbers, I actually shoot for about 160 grams a day. So it's, so it's very
How do you
different.
eat that much?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you how. So it's just tweaking a little bit your food. Now, oftentimes, so we're going to use, say, 125 grams for the day, because the math is easy when you divide it by 5. Okay. Most of the time for dinner, people get 25 grams of protein in. You're cooking a dinner, you're having chicken or steak or fish or whatever it is, right? And it's not that hard unless you're just eating like spaghetti with no meat or whatever in there. And there's ways to do it too if you're a vegetarian and you're not eating meat, but it's just easy to count up these numbers using meat sources for protein. So dinner usually is pretty easy to get 25 grams, but that's what you're going to be shooting for, 25 grams of protein 5 times a day. Again, keeping 2 to 3 hours in between each meal or even a mini meal. Oftentimes when you start doing this, the first week you're going to be like, whew, I feel full. Oh my gosh, yep. Because your body doesn't know and not used to getting those complete nutrients and getting that kind of protein in. Once your body gets that in your body and your metabolism speeds up, you're going to be like, holy crap, I'm hungry. I can't wait for my next meal. And yes, that's a great sign because now your metabolism is really speeding up. So 25 grams of protein about 5 times a day. Dinner, I won't go into it as much because, again, people usually get it. But for breakfast, say you have I'll have eggs and toast for breakfast. That's healthy, right? Eggs are healthy. Well, if you're actually adding things up, an egg has about 6, maybe 7 grams of protein in it. So it's really not that much. So if you're getting a couple of eggs, maybe average, you're getting about 13 grams of protein from those eggs, right?
What about whites, egg whites?
Egg whites is about the same too.
Okay.
So you can have egg whites, but that would be the thing if you're having 2 eggs and you add in 2 egg whites, you're going to be getting to that 25 number, what you're going to be shooting for per day. 25 grams. There. But if you're like, ugh, I don't really like eggs that much, how do I do this? Having a couple of eggs and then say half a cup of Greek yogurt. So just adding that, and you can still have your eggs and toast, but then adding in a half a cup of Greek yogurt. Again, check the labels, because sometimes Greek yogurt, if it's flavored, has a lot of sugar, and that's what you want to avoid, really, especially if you're getting your carb from the toast. But adding in that Greek yogurt is going to boost, say there's about 10 grams of protein then per half cup, boom, you're already then at 23 grams of protein, so pretty close to that 25. Makes a huge difference. Snacks, a lot of times people will say, oh yeah, I'm having some, carrots and hummus or something like that. Okay, hummus doesn't really have that much protein per serving. There's about 2 grams per serving. So just kind of become more aware of this. Yes, it's healthy. Oh, totally a healthy thing to eat, but you're not really boosting your protein that much. So oftentimes just for people who are busy and have busy lives, it's easy to either make protein balls there, and eat some of those. So I have 3 kids. They're 6, 8, and 10. My 10-year-old son will take a handful of them, squish it into one big ball, and be like, oh, Mom, it's just one.
What's the serving size of those? How many should you have? 1?
So there's in the ones that I made, there's about 2 grams of protein per ball. And I made them smaller. Yeah, so if you want to eat 10, eat 10.
Really?
Totally. You totally can.
Oh.
Because again, there's more protein in it than carbs, so absolutely. Have 10 of them. Yeah. So when I make them, I'll make them like 2 or 3 times as big too, and I'll eat, 3 or 4 of them at a time to make sure that I'm getting enough protein. So having protein source, protein balls, protein bars. You can make them into bars as well. that type of a thing. You can add other things too, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, all that other stuff. There's tons of recipes out there, but this is sort of a base one. So that's an easy way to get your morning snack, tons of protein. This also boosts your energy a ton. Lunch, a lot of times when people are trying to eat healthy, oh, I'm gonna have salads. Salads for lunch, oh, the salad jars, have you guys seen those? Like, right?
They never keep me full.
So popular, right, because they don't, because there's no protein in it and there's no healthy fats. Gotta get healthy fats. So having some type of, like an olive oil is pretty healthy. Getting a couple tablespoons of olive oil as a healthy fat in there for part of your dressing, like balsamic vinaigrette or whatever. Great way to do that. And then making sure you're getting at least a half a cup to 3/4 cup of chicken. Then you're gonna be getting 25 grams of protein. So you're looking for like a handful of like chicken cubes or whatever. And adding that in with your salad, great way to boost your protein. So yes, you can still have salad or whatever, but just make sure you're adding the chicken in. And it's not just like a little sprinkle, it's like a ton of it.
Can you also give us up for the vegetarian, the substitution for the protein, please?
Yes, so for people who are vegetarian, it does look different. A lot of times I'll say substitute quinoa in with things because there's a lot more protein in quinoa.
Okay.
And then nuts, you gotta go heavier on the nuts. Specifically, almonds are higher in protein, peanuts and walnuts. Cashews are okay, but they're not, and pecans are not as high, but sunflowers.
Okay.
So having like handfuls of those in your salad,
Okay.
great way to boost your protein that way.
How's the cottage cheese? I use cottage cheese.
Yes, cottage cheese, just like Greek yogurt. Yes, so you can have cottage cheese on your salad as well. Actually, one of my favorite dressings.
Warming? Dairy is warming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dairy's warming. One of my favorite dressings is actually taking cottage cheese and blending it in a blender, and you just add like ranch powder,
Oh,
Oh my gosh,
oh,
yeah.
man.
right?
Okay.
So if you just use cottage cheese, you can make it thick like a dip.
Yeah.
So it's tons of protein. You can sit there and eat like veggies and dip all night. But it's cottage cheese with the ranch powder, which you can get at the store.
Yeah.
And if you want to use it as a dressing, you can just thin it out with a little bit of water to make it pourable.
I'll make that.
Pourable? That's a word, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so another way to get more protein in with what you're doing, just switching up your dressing a little bit there. Yeah. Other snack, again, talking about either a protein bar, protein shake, something like that you're really boosting, again, your protein source. And I talk about that, these easy things, because otherwise you can do it with whole food. You can have, you know, another source of protein here. You can have like a fish sandwich or something, sure. It's hard to prepare that much food. Spend like a whole day out of the week meal prepping, and some people do, and there are services out there that do meal prep for you. Great, but just to start off, play around with these things on your own to kind of figure out, okay, this is what I like, this is what I can do, this fits in with my lifestyle, because then you're going to be successful with it, versus kind of struggling against something that just doesn't fit with how you sort of exist in your life. Does that make sense? So again, that's why I talk about like a protein shake or something like that. Just quick, easy, on the go. It's not going to take a ton of your time. Again, as long as you're getting enough protein in there to match, to get your numbers for the day, then you're going to be doing it. And then for dinner, again, whatever a healthy meal is going to be. But again, protein, fat, and carb for all these meals is what you want to include in. So that's a really easy way to sort of split it up for the day. So you're hitting your numbers, getting to your results, and this alone, even if you don't eat for your hormones in your cycle and everything else, this is going to boost your metabolism a ton and help you break a plateau if you've been struggling with a plateau. Yeah, yeah. This alone right here is going to just, because you're boosting a lot of your protein. Make sense?
When you talk about shakes, do you know anything about Shakeology? That's a good source of.
So when we, so there's a lot of different brands of stuff out there, and I'm not going to say it's not a good source. Just looking at labels alone, you want to make sure that you're getting the right numbers. The Shakeology itself, per serving, is only about 16 grams of protein. So one serving is not going to get you these numbers. So is it better than nothing?
Else with it, or
Yes. Yeah, pair it with something or double up on it or something like that. Otherwise, again, you're going to be hungry sooner, and it's not going to help you get past plateau.
I have a lot of Shakeology. I did the 21-day fix, so.
Yes. Yeah, I get that question a lot. Yeah, so double up servings.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to go wrong with it because you're going to be really boosting your protein. You because then you'd be like, oh, look, I'm getting like 30 grams of protein. Woo! Yeah. Oh, you could also use it. I'm going to show you my favorite shake recipe.
My favorite is the chocolate with peanut butter in it and a banana.
So, so good. Okay, so protein shake size. This is a coffee shake. And this is actually the way I like to start my day, every day, because it includes coffee. I don't know if you guys really love coffee like I do, but I didn't used to. And then after I had my second kid, I just couldn't exist without it. And we'll talk about specifically to start your day in the beginning of the day to help level your blood sugars out and give you more energy throughout the day. A couple of tweaks to this that you can make. So coffee, first off, starting with, and you can use a cup and a half of coffee, and I put it in a blender bottle or
Brewed coffee or ground?
brewed coffee. So I do French press because that's what my husband drinks. So, which is really strong sometimes, but yeah, whatever type of brewed coffee. It's helpful if the coffee is warm. That's a tip because you want it to melt the coconut oil that's going to be in it. But if it's hot, it will explode in a blender. Learned that one. That gets messy. So just warm is sufficient. And then we're going to add coconut oil to it. Coconut oil is fantastic. And a tablespoon or two of coconut oil is going to help give you more sustained energy. And it actually has been proven to level your blood sugars out throughout the rest of the day. So if you notice that increasing your energy or working out or you're pushing yourself harder and you're like, oh, I'm really starting to get famished in the middle of the day, what's going on? Oh, how am I going to combat this? Up your healthy proteins in the morning, or up your healthy fats in the morning, and it helps to level that out amazingly well. So coconut oil, you can do this if you also enjoy, I use grass-fed butter sometimes. So also to match this with your cycle, during my estrogen phase, I will focus on the coconut oil, and then during progesterone, I will focus on the grass-fed butter. Both really good sources of healthy fats, just shifting it up a little bit for your hormones. And anywhere from 1 to 2 tablespoons.
Where do you get coconut oil?
You can get it anywhere. Grocery stores have it.
Like in the oil section?
Yeah.
Okay.
Costco, Hy-Vee. God, I love Hy-Vee. Oh my God, go. It's amazing. I'm like obsessed
There's
with
anything you
it.
can't find.
Right?
Scientific there.
You have Target, Sam's, you can get it for, and Sam's you can get a big one.
Yeah, if you haven't used it a lot in cooking yet or baking or anything like that, start with a smaller jar. Otherwise, you'll get this huge thing of coconut oil and you're like, geez, what do I use
Do
this
you use
for?
it instead of vegetable oil or olive oil or?
You can, olive oil is still a good healthy fat, but coconut oil is really, it's a very big anti-inflammatory as well. And with women and stress and all that stuff, I like the extra added anti-inflammatory property of coconut oil. Yeah, plus I have tried olive oil in this and it's a little weird. It is, right? It's a little weird for the coffee flavor. But the coconut, you don't taste it that much, but it adds a little bit of nice flavor to it. So either coconut oil, grass-fed butter, or both. You can do both, a tablespoon each. It's great. Again, so warm so it stays melted, so it doesn't get chunky. If it's cold coffee, it will chunk because the coconut oil is solid at a cooler temperature. And then my favorite is chocolate protein powder in here. You can use vanilla, and it makes it like a latte, but then you're shooting for whatever protein number you're looking for. So again, if you're looking for the 25 grams of protein, make sure you're getting 25 grams of protein powder in here because this is your protein source. I will shoot for 35 for myself. You know, at least 35 grams of protein right off the bat in the morning. So that would be the only thing, is to really make sure you're getting the right amount there. And then adding some type of, like a little bit of almond milk, coconut milk, something else to make it a little foofier, and just kind of blend it. And it really does, it tastes like a latte. It's amazing. You can, I think they have some pumpkin proteins out right now, which makes it like a pumpkin latte. Oh, yeah, really good. And you can also add in spices too. So if you're getting like the vanilla, if you use a vanilla protein powder and add in like pumpkin spice stuff, that does bring out a little bit of pumpkin flavor. You can add like just a scoop of actual pumpkin in there too. Great, pumpkin spice latte with high protein, healthy fats to kick off your day. So you get actually more energy from your coffee. So a lot of times people who switch over to drinking a coffee shake like this, you actually find you need less coffee throughout the day because there's a lot more information out there on this. But basically, because of the healthy fats mixed in with the coffee, you get more energy from the caffeine in this coffee when it's paired with a healthy fat than just on its own. So fantastic, fantastic way to boost your energy. Having these healthy fats in the morning levels your blood sugars out. You're not going to get hungry throughout the day. You're not going to have that really big crash in the afternoon from your blood sugars crashing. Yeah, and sorry, it's messy. But I can also post in the event group. I can post this because I have a nicer picture of this. But this is a fantastic way to start your day every day. So when we talk about the breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, whatever, I actually have this. That's my breakfast. And then for my snack is where I'll eat breakfast foods, because I love breakfast, where I'll have my eggs or a breakfast burrito or something like that. So, yeah, because you're getting a ton of energy this way. Oh. All right. I don't want to go over time too much, but does anybody have any other questions?
What brand of chocolate protein powder you normally?
It depends on what you're kind of looking for. Some people, again, this can be made completely dairy-free as well for people who are have dairy issues. So you can use like a pea or hemp protein. A soy protein is not going to be as bioavailable, which means you're not going to get it. So say you're getting a protein source. That's the one thing I warn against for people. If you're going to get a protein at the store, you got to be really careful that there's not any fillers in it. It's really easy to make a cheap protein, throw it in a canister, and throw it on a shelf in a store. And you're thinking, yeah, I'm getting all this great stuff. There's a lot of fillers and other additives in it that actually blocks the absorption of the protein for you. So you're working against yourself there. And if it's soy-based, you're not going to be absorbing that much protein because it's just not as bioavailable. So pea proteins and hemp proteins for plant-based are the best way to go. Very bioavailable. And when it says something like 20 grams of protein on the container per serving, per scoop, you're actually going to be getting closer to that number.
So no soy-based protein.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Soy is also the #1 crop exported from Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Yes, so soy is huge in the state of Minnesota, but for human consumption, it's really tough to get those numbers of protein, especially when it's been processed so much to make it into a protein powder. Yeah, your body just doesn't recognize it, doesn't absorb it. Even if it says it on the label, it doesn't mean your body can uptake it.
What about tofu?
Tofu is a little bit different because of the way that it's processed and like fermented and stuff like that. You're going to be getting more of the protein, but oftentimes people will eat a small amount of tofu thinking that they're getting a ton of protein, but I often tell them to double it or increase that a lot more because it will increase the amount of proteins that you're getting. Because I know a lot of vegetarians do a lot of tofu. Yeah.
I've used a lot of tofu in my shakes. Like at Costco, you can buy like this whole organic tofu box, and there's like 24 of them in there. But
yeah,
you store them in your pantry, and then you use that as your instead of dairy.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just makes a really smooth shake.
Yeah.
My son loves them.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions? This is good information, helpful.
Yeah, if you're like at a plateau or you're frustrated because you can never lose weight, would you start with the protein or would you start with the cycle stuff?
You can do both at the same time.
What if you're overwhelmed with trying to think
All of it?
Yeah.
Then I would say start with whatever you want to start with.
Okay.
Knowing, here's a great way to kind of answer that question. Whatever speed you want to go forward at. When you start doing this and really getting these protein numbers, you're going to start seeing a result faster. Within a few weeks, you should start to see something different. With eating for your hormones, overall, it's really healthy for your body and your hormones and everything else. 12 weeks we're looking at to really see a full result from that just because of how long it takes the hormones to shift over.
Right.
When you say you see a result, what do you mean a result?
See a change. Also for women, the scale's not going to change first.
Yeah.
Inches change first. So your clothes are going to fit different. If you take measurements, your measurements are gonna be changing and be different first. And oftentimes it is around the midsection and hip area because you're increasing your proteins. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing. Scale changes after inches start changing. For men, it can be the exact opposite. The scale will change 2 days later.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, I lost 8 pounds in 2 days. What? Right? Yeah, totally. So for women, it's just a little bit different. Yeah, but if you're looking to really see a result and you're frustrated,
Yeah.
start with proteins, boost those, and then start incorporating the eating for your cycle. Just so, yeah, you're right, and so it's not as overwhelming. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you gonna post that, peanut butter ball recipe?
Yes, I'll post the peanut butter recipe. I'll post the coffee shake recipe in the Facebook group event page, so you guys can watch this all over again if you want to, or you can just get those recipes and start boosting protein. And if you have any questions, I'm super active on Facebook. You can message me or, send me something or even comment on something in there. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions so you guys can kind of navigate through this.
Do you have a practice where people come and get counseling from you on nutrition?
I do, any advice that you would need, I do virtually right now. I don't have I sold my office to actually jump into writing and speaking full time. I tried to write a book and run my practice at the same time, and I got like this much my book done. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna jump ship and go into it.
When is your book coming out?
2017.
Nice.
Early 2017. I've been working on it for a while, but
Great.
long time coming. But
Cool.
yeah, it's coming.
Yes.
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's a different process, but yeah.
What is that?
All right.
To